Okay, welcome back to another episode of Classic Conversations. And today I have uh man, we met back at John Jay College. I don't remember what year that was. Forgive me. But
It's been a while. I think it's close to 10 years at this point.
damn, we've been okay. So as this beautiful lady just said, we've been rocking together for a decade strong. You know, um and she's just really, really cool. Hey, what's going on, Rocky? That was her cat, Rocky, that just passed by. So yeah, no, on the show today I have Hager. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good, good. Thank you for doing this. So I like to always start out by asking my guests, this pandemic has been tough on all of us. So what have you been kind of doing to kind of, handle the pandemic?
I've actually kind of gotten back to the things I've kind of missed. Oops, sorry again. Um, we since it's been kind of quiet up here for the most part up until recently. So I've been being active at home and did some like free designs of some of the spaces. I still work with my patients, even though sometimes with our associations we're kind of regulated, so we can't. Um, so in that case, I just go back to the things and touching back to like the things that made me me and what I loved. So going back into my artsy, uh, just back roots, coming back home, paint the art and try and cook a little more as much as I can.
Nice, nice. We'll get into you uh so a lot of good stuff that we got going on. But so and before we get into what you're doing now, take us back a little bit. Like what was life like growing up for you?
It was definitely interesting. So I was born Canadian and I grew up in Canada for maybe 3 or 4 years, but I ended up moving to New York when I was still in elementary school. When I moved there, I made some really good friends that are still friends to this day. I grew up there. Everything about me speaks volumes as to the New York personality. I love the arts and culture scene. I'm still a big thespian that you can't really find, even though I've traveled all over the place. That's still something that's still true to me. Um, and I've gotten to meet a lot of really cool people. About 7 years ago, I left New York because I was finding myself trapped. I was studying, like when we were met in John Jay, I was studying deviant behavior and social control. And I had a minor in journalism, and I was working as a journalist in New York. But then I started getting a little bit of a notoriety amongst the foodies and well, amongst the restaurant scene, not the foodies necessarily. So I ended up moving just to kind of reset about 7 years ago. And when I came here, I didn't really find much option. So I decided I wanted to go back to school, but I wanted to do something that was more meaningful for people.
And okay, keeping with that theme, what is it exactly that you went to school for?
So after I finished my undergrad at John Jay in New York, I wanted something that would help people. So I ended up going into massage therapy. And then I'm just taking my next year before I continue onwards with the manual osteopathy program.
Uh, what is that? I'm not familiar with.
So you're lucky because in the US, you actually have this option. You have two types of doctors in the States. You have MDs, which is your medical doctor that you see on a regular. And then you have DOs. There are interchangeable, but the difference is DOs typically go with manual therapies before they recommend surgery or medication. They kind of try and see what they can do first that could help you, whether that be through massage or some sort of like, there's something called visceral manipulation where they play with your internal organs to try and get people with like IBS, IBD a little more regular. There's a whole bunch of like special skills underneath that. There's ligament playing, but they try to help you control yourself before they go about, okay, well, now we have to give you medications as a last resort. They kind of run through the options with you first. And there's some really good ones I know of. Dr. Mike something. I forget his last name, but I know he's all over YouTube. He actually went to my elementary school. Um, and I actually think that that was actually really good because he is a DO.
Awesome.
So
That is great. I know you'll succeed at it because you're just awesome. So that's
thank you.
uh okay. So let's what do you call it? So do you have any hidden talents? Like I mean, like I said, displaying those options is purely optional. Those playing those talents.
I'm a really good underestimated pool and domino player. So like when we talk like because my background is Middle Eastern. So a lot of people confuse me for Latin. So whenever I play like I have a lot of friends who are Dominican and Puerto Rican. When we play dominoes, we go hard. Um aside from that, I don't really have a whole lot of hidden talents except maybe drawing, but even that is still kind of amateur.
Right. Okay. So what, like, when you draw, what do you like to draw?
Landscapes are just freestyle, like little doodles here and there.
Hmm. Okay. Uh, so I know music is a big thing for me. Like I use it for everything. Like whether I'm
Hmm.
editing or working out or preparing to do a show or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's just big for me. Especially on my workouts. So what are you listening to? Like what bands are you listening to or
Depends on my mood, but lately I've been digging this guy named Masego. I've actually followed him since like the very beginning. I found his work just to be like the perfect jazz R&B kind of mesh together. And him to have a really good vibe. I play a lot of lo-fi in my clinics because a lot of my clients and a lot of my patients have really enjoyed it. And what's another really good one? Anderson Paak. I feel like he's been showing up a lot lately around me. So like even when I'm not playing him, I'm hearing him on like the radio or something. So I think those are like the top artists I've been listening to lately.
yeah, it's really weird when I get a song stuck in my head, like it's literally stuck in my head for like an insane amount of time. Like I don't know, it's really weird. Maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't know. But anyway, okay. So when you're not in school or working, what's a typical day off like for you?
So I do help my family out a lot, and I do have a little cat, as you've been seeing him walk by back and forth. So I tend to chill out usually at home. I've been playing with some of my coworkers a game called Genshin Impact. It's really good. They have it on like many cross platforms, and I like playing that game a lot. So if you ever see me, you can catch me there.
Cool.
Um, or I'll go up with my friends. I don't have a lot out here. It's the same like group of five, but we all go out and have dinner or something, which is always really good.
Yeah, I hear Calgary and Toronto, that area is like really beautiful, and I hope to get up there one day and try some authentic poutine. I've had poutine before, but I've never had it in Canada. So that's one of the
Honestly, if you're gonna get poutine, I'm gonna recommend that you go to Montreal because they have the original and they like the best. So Calgary, we're like north of Montana, a little bit closer to the west coast. Whereas Toronto's more like East Coast, like it's literally like 2 hour flight from Calgary from New York, whereas Calgary is like a 7 hour flight.
oh shit.
Um, but we have such beautiful mountains, and like when you look at pictures of like our sceneries and like the landscapes from around us and small towns, we have like places like Banff and like Lake Louise, and these are like beautiful crystal blue waters that are like something you see out of movies or photoshopped things, but it's like that's what that blue. Even in the wintertime when it's like iced over, you can see the blue tint in the water, um, just from the natural environment just kind of shining through the snow and the ice.
So I'm actually really curious about that. How um like how long does it actually snow in Canada before it gets like nice, or does it get like extremely hot or something like that?
Um, it can get hot, but it's not like New York where it's humid and hot where it, like you suffocate. Here it's pretty dry. Like it's pretty dry. Like ashiness is not as a thing. Like you gotta make sure you're hydrated so you don't get the ashy elbows. Uh, but we so usually around this time of year in September, we don't usually get a fall, or we do for like a week and then it starts snowing.
Oh,
But this year's been pretty warm. It's been pretty mild, and we've actually had a fall, which I absolutely love. Um, but I will say that usually it snows for about 9 to 10 months out of the year.
wow.
And then the summer months is usually June, July, August. It's warm. It's like nice warm. It's either really, really hot and you have to be careful because it's so dry and we're a little bit higher in the altitude. So sunburn is really easy,
Hmm.
even amongst the darker melanin people. But no, it's pretty nice. It's milder than New York. I'll say that for sure. But we get weird weather changes. So it'll be like in Celsius, it'll be like plus 15 to like -5 in one day. Can really shift. So
Okay.
like if we're talking degrees, it's like 60s and it'll drop down to like 34 or
Okay.
32.
Yeah, so that's like kind of like Las Vegas in the fall. Like it'll be I've been to like Vegas in like September or October, and it'll be like maybe in the during the day it'll be like 75, and then at night it'll drop down to like 40, 45, 50, and it's like I was just out here like 45 minutes ago, and it was like 75 degrees, and then you got to run back upstairs to to
Yeah,
go
it's
in.
hard to dress for weathers like that, I've noticed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So let's see. What else do I want to ask you? Hmm, okay, so what going back to massage therapy, like what inspired you to get into massage therapy?
I have my mom, she's always kind of, since I was really young, she's like indoctrinated to like get foot massages. Like I have to give foot massages at the end of the long day. So I was really indoctrinated at a really young age. But when I moved to Canada, I wanted something that was more beneficial to helping people. I love writing, but there wasn't as much of a need for it anymore. And what I already had, I had to start all over because there was like a translation between education systems between Canada and the US. So for me, I had to figure out what I wanted to do that didn't already wasn't something I already learned. So I was looking, I waited a while. I was just working retail jobs just to kind of fill in the space between and the kind of gaps. And then I actually was like praying on it, and as weird as that sounds, but I was praying for some sort of guidance, and I literally saw myself doing this, and it kind of I was kind of like praying for like give me some sort of sign, and literally in a matter of like 3 days, I had like 15 people being like, "Wow, you give really good massages. Like I actually feel like I can walk again." I had this one lady. I was traveling at the time, and she was like unable to walk, and there was like this one lady was with us, and she was unable to walk, so she needed like a little bit of her legs massaged. I started massaging her legs, and like literally the next day I saw her walking around. She's like, I had no problems walking today. Like, I don't know what you did, but your hands are magic. And I was like, I guess this is the sign, the praying and the sign, and I got it.
Oh, damn. Well, that's amazing. So you say that you travel a lot, and I know you travel a lot because I follow you on social media and you always posting your adventures. So what's your favorite? What's been your favorite place to travel to, and
Oh no, no.
where's somewhere that you haven't been that you would love to go?
Oh man, that's such a hard question. That's such a hard question. Um, I've traveled a lot of places and I love a lot of places just for different reasons. I love Costa Rica. It's on my top three, I'd have to say, just because it was so scenic and peaceful. And like I was doing like an assignment out there, traveling out there for a little while. And I was in Guanacaste. like right off of Liberia on like the Pacific coast. And it was like right in like the beginning of the wet season, but it was still kind of the dry season. So it was like they're kind of fall or spring. And it was just so peaceful. Every time we went out, it was just so peaceful. The water was amazing. They have black sand beaches. I definitely recommend it to anybody. I love Egypt too, because that's where my family is from. And so whenever I go there, I find a lot of like historical roots. And I find like our family is like really, really like connected into the history there. And every time I go back there, I learn something more about our family or our culture. Or I consider myself a little bit more of a traditionalist, but I find that every single time I go there, I'm pleasantly surprised with what I've learned. Um, Someplace I really want to go. And that's a really good one. Um, I can think of Korea as being someplace I really want to go. I want to go to Jeju Island and I want to eat some authentic tteokbokki and go on Seoul and Busan, and I want to see there. It's like something I really wish I could do.
Wow, Korea. That is not some place that I expected to hear, but uh, oh man. Yeah, so before we wrap this up, is there anything that you have coming up that you want to promote? Where can people follow you on social media if you want them to follow you? The floor is yours.
I don't really go on social media to like exploit myself really, but if people want to find me, I work out of two clinics here in Calgary. Forest Lane Physiotherapy and Massage, and Jack Support Physiotherapy and Massage. I always tell people like if you're gonna get a massage, there's two types. A lot of people don't know there's a big difference between the two. Um, One is therapeutic, and that one tends to be a little bit more painful, but between week to week, you get results and you feel a difference, and it lasts a little bit longer than if you do like this traditional Swedish spa massage that people think of. So I definitely tell people like know your differences. Feel free to talk to your therapist about what treatment is best for you and what you're looking to get out of it. Because if you're looking for relaxation, that's one thing. But if you're looking for therapy, there's some really good tips out there for that.
Nice. So okay, so you don't want to promote yourself. I know you're kind of like a shy person, but it's cool.
Find me on Genshin. I'm great. I'll tell you my like handle if anybody wants to find
No, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
me. So if you ever go on Genshin Impact, just look for GIR89, GIR89. You'll find me. I'm like always on that. I
Yeah.
could use friends. We need to get past this like Izuki level. It's just been killing me, and the Y has been killing me. So like I need to get past these level of these story requests. So feel free to join me.
Uh, okay. I will definitely look into that. You know what? Matter of fact, no, we're not gonna wrap this one up just yet. Let me ask you, is there anything that you want to ask me that you've always wanted to ask me since?
I had a really good question, but only because I know you and I know you have had opinions on this in the past regarding other ones, but we really haven't gone deep depth into this. So I kind of want to know what your opinions are on the COVID vaccine and the mandatory proof of vaccine that you are now some places are requiring.
Okay. So here's my thing. I have no problem with the mandatory mask mandate or COVID vaccine mandate because I'm vaccinated. So I have no problem with that. And I for me being vaccinated, it was kind of like let me just make this clear. I was not forced to take the vaccine.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I you know, it wasn't something that, it was like saying, hey, if you wanna, if you wanna take it, I could. But for me, after catching COVID, it was kind of like a no-brainer for me because
I think you caught it a couple of times, didn't you?
yeah, I caught it twice, but the first time I was asymptomatic, and then the second time, which was in December of 2020, that was the worst experience that I've probably ever had to deal with. Like I've been
Yeah.
through pretty painful things and life experiences, but that was that was the one time where I felt I wasn't gonna make it. Like I like
Yeah.
times where I legit thought that this was it.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I have no problems with it. I understand that people have religious. I know I've spoken to a couple of people. I even have some patients who um, express their religious beliefs. Like I know the RNA aspect of it is against some cultures, so I know some Catholics don't do it because of the fact that it uses RNA. Although there's a whole scientific
Right.
thing about that, but I completely understand and respect people's point of views for that. And I understand that for people who are like people who need it, people who have severe, like certain types of cancers, certain types of respiratory or body like immunodeficient states where they can't actually get the vaccine right now. I completely understand it, but I'm double vaxxed. I know there's definitely going to be a booster shot sometime whenever this is over,
Hmm.
but I completely stand with you in terms of like getting the vaccine. I've just recently had a lot of interesting conversations with people about it, about why they're not doing it, and I've had opinions as to why they should
Yeah,
do so.
and with some people, you're just not gonna get through it. It's just not gonna. It's just not gonna. Not
No,
gonna.
surprisingly, I was able to convince a couple people. Like the biggest thing for me regarding that vaccine is, um, here's the thing. I had, without going into too much details, because this patient has HIPAA,
Yeah.
um, which is like that privacy protection.
Yeah.
There are patients all around the US and Canada who have certain types of leukemia. Okay. When they get the virus, I have one of these people hence is my patient. And what ends up happening is that if they get the virus, it mutates in the body. It changes from what they thought would be the first thing, what they first catch with COVID, which we all know to be whatever the variant exists now, whether that be Delta, the South African, the Brazilian, whatever variant it is, they'll get it. But as they get it, because their state is that they can't handle it, especially CLL patients, it mutates multiple times, and so they end up getting something that would have been a 2 week or 3 week virus, ends up lasting somewhere like 5, 6, 7 months. And I've actually had one of those cases. And what their problem is the virus that it starts with ends up being a completely different thing when they're done.
Mm.
So right when they're finishing up, let's say month one, they finish up their first virus, because it's now mutated. Now they're now finding off variant two within their system.
Jeez.
And then they're now, once they cover variant two, they cover now variant three that's in their system. So the more people who don't get vaccinated, the same thing happens. You'll get infected with one virus, and the longer it stays in the body, it becomes more resilient to medicine, to how like it starts to understand. It's like a chemical, like it's like a robot. It understands what we're doing. And the more people who don't do it, it starts to form these new variants, which is why we're seeing variants like the Delta variant. We're seeing variants like the new Italian variant and things like that.
Hmm.
So it also pushes back when that booster shot can come out, because if there's all these different variants, COVID A1, which started off really small, is now Z triangle, which we don't necessarily have something that we connect to. So
Yes.
it's going to add for more boosters later on.
And that was educational. I did not know. I just knew what COVID was, but you have just educated me in a whole different way, and I thank you for that.
No
Anything
problem.
anything else that you want to ask me since we're here and it's my interview? And hey, anything?
Uh, how you doing? Let's start there. How's your day going? How you
Um,
doing?
I'm doing okay. This YouTube channel, which I've had for 8 years, I didn't even know. I've had it for 8 years, and I didn't really start doing anything with it until till about no this year, as a matter of fact. Like I started in June, like just uploading videos and vlogs and everything like that. And here we are. It's been going good. I'm really happy with it. A lot of people are starting to watch it, and I got recognized when I was by a few people that actually watched the channel. When I was at an
Sweet.
event, yeah, when I was at an event in Madison Square Garden, I was coming out, and they had and I hear somebody calling my name. So I'm like, who is that? And then it's just like three people running up to me asking me for my picture, and one of them couldn't believe it was me and all that. So that was pretty cool moment. But let me just make this clear. I'm not looking for fame or looking to be famous. I'm just
You
looking.
want to be humble famous. You just want to be like, just have the money without having the
Oh
notoriety.
no, the money. Money for me, that's not money for me is nothing. It could. I'm not. If that happens, great. But just letting people know that it's not gonna change me. Like I've been before, and I've done fine, and I'll be fine after if I'm broke. It's not gonna, whatever. But yeah. So I'm doing okay. Yeah, and this COVID thing has I mean, it's been tough for me. I mean, but I'm just trying to make the best of the situation. I mean, I don't know if you saw the interview that I did with my high school chemistry teacher, who happens to be a life coach. I did an interview with her where I go through that whole experience, and it was just have
It was a memory trip. Yeah, I saw little bits and pieces here and there.
yeah, just having to relive that. It was tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. Sorry for the long-winded answer, but all right,
No, it's cool. I completely respect it, safe space. I completely understand.
all right. Okay. So if do you want to wrap up or do you want to keep going? What do you want
Sure,
to
we can wrap up. Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna literally end this just so I can review some case notes for tomorrow. So
Sweet.
not a whole lot left for me.
All right. This has been another very educational and informative episode of Classic Conversations. She is Hager. I am Izzy, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
See you guys. Be safe.
Uh, let's see.